You couldn't pay me enough money to betray President Trump, but he just said one of the craziest things on NBC News, and the host and the mainstream media don't know how to react to it. More fighting from activist Democrat judges. Representative Jasmine Crockett goes wild and offensive on another member of Congress, directly betraying something she and her party pretend to fight for. Also, one of America's most woke governors is begging parents, please bring your kids around trans people so that one day they too can get into government. Thank you so much for liking and sharing these videos with family and friends. It helps me more than you know, so thank you so much. There's a big legal fight going on involving Judge James Boasberg, President Trump, and some Venezuelan illegal immigrants. Judge Boasberg, a federal judge in Washington, D.C., put a stop to Trump's plan to deport a bunch of Venezuelan criminals, murderers, rapists, and gang leaders from Tren de Aragua. Trump was using an old 1798 law called the Alien Enemies Act to send them to a massive gang prison in El Salvador. Well, Judge Boasberg says, hold on. These folks deserve a chance to prove they're not gang members. He's now demanding that the president of El Salvador release these people back into the country, and President Trump use taxpayer money to fly them back to America. Here's where it gets even messier. Boasberg's daughter, Catherine, works for a nonprofit called Partners in Justice. The founder of that group, Emily Galvin Almanaz, cheered the judge's decision, saying he was right to stop Trump. She also hates that the Lincoln-Riley Act, a new law that would lock up illegal immigrants charged with crimes like violence against American citizens. That law was named after the Georgia student killed by an illegal immigrant brought in by Biden and released by Alejandro Mayorkas. Trump's team supports the crackdown on these criminal illegal immigrants. Critics, including Elon Musk, one of Trump's top advisors, says it's fishy that the judge's daughter is tied to this group, which gets millions of dollars in government cash. Wait a minute. There's no such thing as government cash. Taxpayer money passed through the government as government cash. But how about that? The leader of this group that Boasberg is protecting is mad that Trump passed a law called Lincoln-Riley, a woman that was violated for 18 minutes and then killed. So gross to me. Now, Trump is mad, calling Judge Boasberg conflicted and pushing back hard, saying these deportations are about keeping America safe. The case is still hot, and the court has to decide whether to block Trump or block Judge Boasberg. But since this is in Washington, D.C., they're going to have to either get this out or it's going to have to rise to an appellate court or up to the Supreme Court. Now, I want you to watch my video from yesterday where one of Trump's top legal advisors is encouraging Trump to immediately revoke Judge Boasberg's security clearance after it's now clear that he interrupted the commander-in-chief's international military operation. They're also telling Trump, do not bring these rapists and killers and gang leaders from El Salvador back to America. I 100% agree with this. Leave these people in El Salvador. All right, Representative Jasmine Crockett, she's been in the news a lot, right? She's the congresswoman who called on Democrat voters to do vandalism and violence against Elon Musk and Tesla car dealerships. She then physically assaulted one of Laura Loomer's journalists and reporters in the Capitol. Now she's attacking a fellow member of Congress, Representative Byron Donalds of Florida, a black man who is married to a white woman. By the way, they've been married over 20 years. My wife and I were about to celebrate our 20th anniversary. Jasmine Crockett, the congresswoman, made remarks about Representative Byron Donalds, criticizing his stance on historical issues and interracial marriage. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett suggested that Donald's views, particularly his comments about life under Jim Crow, might be influenced by his marriage to a white woman. She doesn't like that a black person marries a white person. Her statements have sparked significant discussion online and social media, with many interpreting her comments as divisive and even racist. The context of these remarks was during a discussion about politics with Charlemagne the God. Now, do you think it's interesting that Democrats said if Trump wins, he will block interracial marriage? Then they criticize interracial marriage. They say Republicans oppress black voters and black citizens, but then a good black man who's been married for over 20 years became a Republican, and he must immediately be shamed. It's just sad. Now, let me know your thoughts on this topic. Let me know your thoughts on Congressman Byron Donalds. I think he's going to go on to be Florida's next governor after Ron DeSantis. I think he also could be president of the United States one day. Also, let me know your thoughts on Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. She and her cohort said that if Donald Trump won, he would immediately block interracial marriage. But now that a black Republican is married to a white Republican, she thinks it's horrible. It's the worst thing ever that he's betrayed his race and people. Crazy. All right, woke Illinois Democrat Governor J.B. Pritzker told an audience that exposing children to gays and transgenders could help them achieve success in government, just like him. He shared how his mother took him to pride parades and suggested that kids should have to rub shoulders with LGBTQ community and specifically trans people. I mean, these people are so weird. My kids are not going to be forced to a transgender event. Now, I tell my children, if you see a man dressed as a woman or a woman dressed like a man, you be respectful, but you do not have to pretend that they are a man if they're a woman or a woman if they're a man. I also tell them, hey, listen, there are gay people. That's just part of reality. You be respectful, but you don't have to go to their parades. You don't have to go fly their flag at your house. Let's go ahead and watch this video of this woke governor together.
Was an activist for reproductive rights and LGBTQ rights. And she took me to pride parades back when, well, they weren't really parades, they were protests. So I have to laugh when I hear the right wing carry on about the dangers of exposing kids to trans people or same-sex couples, because I'm living proof that introducing your kids to the gay agenda might result in them growing up to be governor.
Okay, so he encourages parents, go to the trans parades, go to the drag shows, because it could help your child become a Democrat leader. Let me know in the comments, do you want your child to become a Democrat leader? Do you want your child whose brain is not fully formed to be confused or have desires to chop off their genitals? I know I don't. It's absolutely crazy. All right, President Trump and Steve Bannon are seriously trolling the mainstream media, but now what started out as trolling could actually become true, and I want to hear your thoughts about it. Yesterday, President Donald Trump, in an interview with NBC News, expressed serious consideration about seeking a third term, despite the fact the 22nd Amendment limits a sitting president to 2-term limits. So even though Trump won, then lost, maybe he didn't really lose, and then won again, because there's 2, the Second Amendment, he can't run again, right? However, Trump stated, I'm not joking, emphasizing his intent and adding, there are methods which you could do it, hinting at a legal loophole which would allow Trump to seek a 3rd or 4th term. Now, this came during a phone conversation, a phone interview with NBC Kristen Welker, an anti-Trump newscaster, who pressed him on the past joke about extending his leadership and presidency. Trump doubled down, saying, "You don't sound like you're joking," to which he replied, "I'm not. It is far too early to think about it, yet still left the door open for exploration down the road." Now, the remarks stem from a hypothetical scenario where Trump could run as vice president in 2028 alongside a presidential candidate who might resign, and then he would be elevated. He would be forced back into the presidency. Legal scholars note, although this has never been done and it is untested, and it could clash with the 12th Amendment, according to the New York Post, this is the third term project, and it actually could happen. Pretty crazy, right? They could also make him Speaker of the House, where he would actually have the cojones to pass some laws, save the country some money, and get some stuff done. That way, the new president and the new vice president could focus on running the country while Trump focuses on running Congress. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I would like to hear from you. Trump's comments have ignited a firestorm on social media and among political analysts, which critics decry them as a threat to democracy. Everything is a threat to democracy with Trump, right? The NBC interview conducted Sunday morning, yesterday, marked a shift from Trump's playful musing to now deliberate trolling. So as of yesterday, there is no concrete plan for Trump to run. It is just something that has been floated. President Roosevelt ran multiple times, but then they changed the law. So I don't know what's going to happen, but pretty crazy, right? All right, let me take a quick 45-second break for today's sponsor. Look, I don't know your exact situation, but if you're like the thousands of homeowners, American Finance can help you. You're struggling to keep your head above water. You're barely making ends meet. You're drowning in high interest rate credit cards and debt. It's not your fault. Life got more expensive. Inflation hit everyone hard. But if you're carrying credit card balances with over 20% interest and you have a mortgage that sits untouched, you're ignoring what could be the thing that turns it all around for you, your home equity. And this is where American Financing can help. Would you trade 10 minutes for a shot at saving on average $800 a month? That's $10,000 a year, because that's exactly what homeowners are doing when they call American Financing. A simple, no obligation call could change everything. They have a team of salary-based mortgage consultants, so there isn't any incentive to put you into a loan that doesn't make sense. Plus, there's no upfront fees to find out how much they can save you. Call them right now at 888-686-8030. Again, that's 888-686-8030. Or visit AmericanFinancing.net/Gardner. Stop paying high interest. Use your house as a tool. Save money today. Comedian and talk show host Bill Maher has been one of Trump's harshest critics. However, President Trump has extended him an olive branch and an invitation to have dinner with Trump and others at the White House to discuss ideas, bounce things back and forth, and come up with ways to make America great. Comedian Bill Maher has accepted. I think that this is really great. Bill Maher, I know he rubs a lot of Republicans wrong. I actually like him. He's one of them old school liberals that believes in freedom of speech and getting along and having differing opinions. But listen to this. I think it was actually really interesting.
You're going to meet with the president.
I am.
So Kid Rock makes it happen. What do you think has been the response so far? What do you think it will be, and why are you doing it? Which I'm totally for, by the way, and I love it.
I get it. Well, I'm doing it because, first of all, it was presented as
a dare.
not a dare. No, just like, maybe this is a beginning to heal America. No, I don't have some sort of complex where I think I can heal America. I can't. Okay, let's get that clear. I'm not going to be healing America. But if two guys who've been at each other for so long, I mean, it's kind of a Nixon to China thing. I have the credentials. There was nobody who was harder on Trump or more prescient about the fact that he wasn't going to leave office voluntarily than I was. I feel like I have the credentials. But they also respect me because I'm honest about the woke train to crazy town. And I don't shrink from that. And I've also lost a lot of fans for that. The woke people have left the building, and I'm willing to make that sacrifice. But it does give you a certain credibility.
Okay, really quickly, what he's talking about is he's super pro-gay, lesbian, bi, but he keeps telling Democrats, if you keep telling parents that you're going to secretly change their child's gender behind their back, or you have their teacher doing that, if you die on this hill, your party will die. And he's lost a lot of fans because of that. And a lot of Democrats have criticized him, but he's trying to get his party to back to the middle and back to common sense. But they just want to chop off children's genitals. And he's telling them, you are going to lose every election if you keep leaning left, 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 further left. It's going to hurt you.
So I just think to meet somebody, first of all, it's an honor to be invited to the White House.
Yes, it is.
And I've already had a couple of people who I said to them, you know, I'm just going to take it as a backhanded compliment that you glide right past the idea that little Bill Maher from Rivervale, New Jersey, just a humble kid from the suburbs, was invited for a private dinner to the White House. You glide right past that to how dare you talk to him, and that you're not impressed by it at all. I'm impressed by it a lot. I'm impressed the fuck out of it. I get to go to the White House, and yes, that is the structure of this dinner, is just let's talk. Let's talk to each other face to face. Let's not stop shouting from 3,000 miles away, you know? So if they expect me to be leaving in a MAGA hat, they're going to be very disappointed, but I know they don't. And I think it's going to be, look, it probably will accomplish very little, but you got to try, man. You got to try.
I love it. You know, Kanye, Bill Maher.
Let me know what you guys think about that. I think it's really neat. Again, nobody has been harder on Trump except for maybe the people that Obama got to spy and Hillary Clinton and all of these judges. But in Hollywood, nobody has been harder on Trump than Bill Maher. And I think that if they can go, like, number one, kudos to Trump for having the courage to invite this Trump hater to sit down, have a meal together and say, how do we make the country better? How do we heal the country? And good for Bill Maher for saying, this is an honor. Even if I don't like the guy, you don't get to meet the president of the United States. You don't get invited to the White House every day. I'm just a guy from New Jersey. I think that's really cool. I wondered during Biden if I got invited, if I would have gone. And I think I would have gone. But I would have expressed some of the things that he was doing that I did not agree with. So let me know your thoughts. I thought that was pretty neat, pretty cool, and wanted to share that with you. All right. Yesterday, sadly, the entryway of the Republican Party of New Mexico's headquarters in Albuquerque was burned down. You can see here that some arsonist terrorists burnt down the Republican Party's office building. They then decided to spray paint ICE equals the KKK. So ICE, immigration, is the Ku Klux Klan, according to whoever decided to firebomb the Republican Party's office there in Albuquerque. Pretty crazy, right? Like, things are getting kind of out of control. All right, President Trump is not happy with President Zelensky of Ukraine, and he is not happy with Vladimir Putin of Russia. Let me start with Putin. In a fiery outburst, President Donald Trump expressed frustration with Russian President Vladimir Putin over stalled Ukraine ceasefire talks. Trump told NBC News he's pissed off after Trump criticized Ukrainian leader Volodymyr Zelensky's credibility, saying it's derailing peace efforts. Trump is now threatening hefty 25 to 50% tariffs on Russian oil exports if Putin doesn't agree to a deal soon, aiming to hit the Russian ruble and the Russian economy hard. This comes as Trump pushes to end the Ukraine war, a key campaign promise, but progress has been slow, minus a ceasefire truce near the Black Sea. Now, the tariffs would target countries buying Russian oil like China and India, potentially disrupting global energy markets. They might not care. Trump believes that they care. I believe India will care. China, we're one of the top buyers of China's stuff, so they might care, but they're going to have to thread this needle carefully because more and more America runs the risk of losing the hegemony of the US dollar and also losing more trade partners. So it's something that I think is going to get done. The White House says Trump plans to speak with Putin this week and fully press him. Why are you dragging your feet? Let's stop the killing. I don't think Trump would actually care if there weren't thousands dying weekly. I mean, it's thousands dying every single week. Meanwhile, critics question if Trump's tariff threat are serious or just bluster. So we'll see what ends up happening. I'll cover what happens in the Trump-Putin phone call. Okay, with Zelensky. Zelensky said over the weekend he will no longer bend to Trump or sign the mineral rights deal. He also said all money given to him by President Joe Biden was a gift to Ukraine, not debt. This has many Americans upset. It seems Zelensky wants this war to continue as if it wasn't even a day after he said he wanted peace that he struck deep into the heart of Russia with an attack. Then Putin said he wanted peace and then attacked an oil and gas company in Ukraine, knocking power out for tens of thousands of Ukrainians. So this war is ongoing. It remains ugly. And Donald Trump, he's got his hands full trying to keep his promise to end this war with two big leaders, one a global superpower and the other Ukraine, dragging their feet, trying to not let this war end. Let me know your thoughts. Are we going to get this thing ended? Or is Trump just going to have to tell Zelensky, you know what? We're done. If you don't believe it's debt, then everything going forward is debt or no more money. I think you cut off the money. Europe's not going to put up the money. America's the only one really putting up money. France and the United Kingdom, they're saying, oh, we're going to put boots on the ground. They won't, because they don't want World War III. Nobody wants World War III except for maybe the World Economic Forum and the globalist elites. And maybe the military-industrial complex. I don't know. Maybe a lot of people want World War III. I, Stephen Gardner, do not want World War III. And I believe President Donald J. Trump does not either. All right, you guys, that's my update for today. We're coming up on the final days of these incredible MAGA hat giveaway. Check that link down below. Be careful. There are scammers pretending to be me. I'm not texting anyone. I'm not calling anyone. You will receive an email via the email you used to register for these hats only. That's how I will contact you. All right, I love you. Stay amazing, and I will see you on the next video.